It is a frightening thought that man also has a shadow side to him. The individual seldom knows anything of this. To him, it is incredible that he should ever go beyond himself. But if it is repressed and isolated from consciousness, there emerges a raging monster. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. The shadow is very much part of human nature, and it is only at night that no shadow exists. Carl Jung. Swiss psychologist Carl Jung believed that an increasing sense of meaninglessness, worry, pain, and loneliness was the result of living in the modern materialistic world of money, pleasure, and power. Part of being a member of this world is to be up to date with trends and aim for the highs that society artificially creates. That's why, these days, people more than ever are deeply concerned with their outward presentation to the world. They will put on a serious effort trying to meet societal norms, not realizing that they destroy their actual selves, consequently increasing their shadow. Carl Jung introduced the term shadow in the early 20th century as a way to explain this tendency to fit in. According to Jung, the shadow comprises the repressed and hidden aspects of our personality, the parts of ourselves that we deem unacceptable or unworthy, or as Jung puts it, the thing a person has no wish to be. The shadow is particularly noticeable when someone is experiencing anxiety or other negative emotions, when they are intoxicated, etc. During a friendly conversation, they might unexpectedly speak out something unpleasant. We project our dislike of something onto other people because we do not want to embrace it ourselves. A person can never become their best self if the shadow doesn't fit into their personality. Rather than living a full life that could have been, one will always be fragmented, incomplete, and partial. Consider a scenario where I've been playing chess casually, winning a few games here and there against friends and family. Over time, I start to build up an image of myself as a chess genius, convinced of my strategic brilliance. Then one day, I hear about a local chess club where serious players gather to compete and improve their skills. The thought both excites and intimidates me. If I join, I'll be entering a world where my abilities will be truly put to the test, where I can no longer hide behind the facade of my imagined greatness. In this scenario, there are two paths I can take. The first option is to avoid the challenge altogether, to retreat from the club and cling to my illusion of being a chess prodigy. By doing so, I protect myself from the discomfort of facing my weaknesses, as a consequence increasing my shadow. The second option is to actually go to a chess club. As I'm playing with other serious chess players, I face various challenges. Perhaps I struggle with certain openings, or I find myself outsmarted in complex endgames. It's a humbling experience, but it's also illuminating. By acknowledging my weaknesses, I gain a deeper understanding of myself as a chess player. Through this process, I confront my shadow, the aspects of myself that I've been unwilling to acknowledge or accept. I let go of the idealized image of the chess prodigy and embrace the reality of my strengths and weaknesses. This is the shadow work process, sometimes referred to as the realization of the shadow. This marks the start of the rigorous and long process of self-education. One must engage in continuous and challenging dialogue with the shadow. With shadow work, one can examine their inner shadow by looking into their dreams and their outward shadow, by observing their emotional responses and being brutally honest about their interactions with others. By bringing the darkness to the light and the light to the darkness, rather than so much as fighting against it, this leads to enlightenment and eliminates the destructive power of the shadow. Finding the truth is a comfort, no matter how frightening or daunting facing our shadows can be. Finding the truth requires a thorough examination of the depths of our being in order to find possibilities and limitations, distortions, and the hidden and frequently forgotten aspects of our identities and capacities. This process is known as authenticity. However, the majority of individuals are too sluggish to give careful thought to even the moral parts of their behavior that they are aware of, let alone how their unconscious influences them. According to Carl Jung, we may better manage and comprehend our shadow selves if we acknowledge and integrate them into our personalities. He called this process individuation, in which all aspects of our personalities, even the less appealing ones, come together to show who we really are. To the greatest degree possible, individuation involves integrating unconscious psychological components into the totality of one's personality. Although this process usually happens naturally as we get older, Jung believed that ultimately it is up to the individual to determine and work toward it, whether through techniques like therapy, introspection, personal development toward authenticity, or some combination of these. Jung correctly pointed out that individuation is a difficult process that frequently involves competing demands that call for us to acknowledge the fact that even our counter-will is a part of a greater divine plan. In other words, our negative attributes are just as valuable as our favorable ones. Engaging with the opposite sex components of our psyche, known as the anima or animus, is another aspect of individuation. People often don't integrate these parts in a healthy way, which results in self-expression that isn't fully developed. Making an effort to integrate these elements in a balanced way empowers people of both genders. Unhealthy integration, on the other hand, carries the possibility of detrimental characteristics specific to the other sex emerging. As a result, dangerous behaviors may surface, such as toxic femininity and toxic masculinity. There is one major obstacle to individuation, though: the persona. The persona acts as a mediator between the individual and society, shaping our interactions and perceptions. However, its presence can hinder the process of individuation by obscuring authentic self-expression and fostering conformity to societal norms. The persona is a complicated system of relations between individual consciousness and society. Fittingly enough, a kind of mask designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other, to conceal the true nature of the individual. Carl Jung. The persona implies that we pretend to be someone we are not when we avoid facing the reality of who we truly are. Early in life, the persona starts to take shape as a result of the urge to live up to the expectations and wishes of peers, parents, and teachers. Children learn that certain attitudes and behaviors are acceptable and can be rewarded, while others are inappropriate and may result in punishment. Acceptable features are often integrated into the persona, whereas negative traits are suppressed or hidden. Maybe one might be overly pleasant because they don't enjoy disagreement and are taken advantage of, or they can be forceful because they think it's rude and socially undesirable. In either case, their relationships and careers suffer. Eventually, as we get older, these negative traits begin to wear on us. They become our shadow, the dark side of our personalities that may overtake us at any time and cause us to have violent breakdowns. In order to recover the virtues that have remained buried in our psyche and to be honest about who we are, as well as to know how much good we can do and what crimes we are capable of, Jung believed that dealing with one's shadow was a lifelong process that was an essential component of self-education. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. The journey towards self-improvement begins with accepting ourselves as we are. Only by embracing and acknowledging all aspects of ourselves, including the less appealing ones, can we unlock our true potential. However, if we deny our flaws and only focus on the parts of ourselves we like, we'll remain incomplete. This leads to a life filled with regret rather than fulfillment. The choice is yours. Will you confront your shadow or push it away? Do you prefer facing real challenges or living in a world of what ifs?